Well, that was a tough weekend, wasn't it?
Tough, not just because of the baking hot sunshine, but because I think there was a lot going on and a lot to take in. Some lessons to be learned, but some huge wins as well, I think,
Yeah.
to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, the weather definitely didn't help. I mean, having kids play football in 25-degree heats with barely any wind. I mean, actually, the little wind that was there did help it a little bit, but when you're just so caught up in the moment, no one's drinking water. It's just like,
No, and I think this was summarised by my wife actually as well. She went, "Did you not bring any water to the tournament?" And I was like, "I did. I took 4 bottles of water just for me." I said, "But Paul didn't have one, so I gave him one." I said,
yeah,
"Paul's son didn't have one, so I gave him one." And she was like, "Well, I think you gave me one as well." I was like, "So okay, so I had 1 bottle of water. That's why we were running back to you on the concession stand to be like, can we have more water, please?"
yeah.
So yeah, there was
Rookie error on
there
my
was
on my part.
hey, look, we'll get into that because bringing water to the tournament or to any match, I suppose, is a talking point and a half. We should sort of give some sort of position as to what we're talking about here. So we ran our club, both coaches at under nines football clubs. Our clubs ran its first ever tournament over the weekend, and it was fantastic. Really, really great event. Lots of kids really enjoying their football. Lots of parents really enjoying it. The standard was really, really good as well. Played in the right spirit. The weather, of course, was going to be there for all of us to have to work out. And then off the back of that, we figured that there's lots of conversations to have about kids football and coaching in general, and what we do. And we figured this is a good idea to jump on and have a bit of a chat and see if it becomes a regular thing.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing. I think if we're not talking about it afterwards, and actually, if we're thinking about it selfishly, it's a really good opportunity for you and I to like just debrief in public, and just obviously anonymized for the kids' sake, but we'll be completely unfiltered, I think, on this point. But yeah, it was a really good. Yeah, so I'm Paul Fernandez. I'm one of the under nines coaches, and you, Tony, are my co-coach. Bit of background about me. I'm a business owner and I do various sort of media things as well. But like coaching was never one of those things that I thought I ever wanted to tick off until I started doing it. And like usual style, I was one of the parents on the sidelines for the first couple of years. I just could not stand still. I was all right at keeping my mouth shut, I think, a little bit. Maybe one of the coaches would disagree with that, but it was just one of those things. I couldn't stand on the sidelines and not get involved. It was, and if I'm going to get involved, I'm going to jump in like feet first,
Yeah,
and
we
just
would
immerse
absolutely
myself in
recommend
it.
in kids football. Don't
Yeah,
dive
I
in
mean,
first.
yeah, double tackle, red cards. But it was one of those things that's like if I'm gonna be here every week, I might as well be of some use and get involved. And I've watched football since I was like 5 years old. Everton fan for my sins, but it is what it is. So no, I've been doing it now for a full season. There's a lot of takeaways. I've made a lot of mistakes this year, but some really good, positive, heartwarming things that have come out of this year as well. So, yeah, that's me. How about you, mate?
Well, I don't really feel I can compete with that, to be honest. I'm
Yeah,
Tony. My background is I'm a comedian, so I mean, there's your first comparison straight away. So I'm former comedian. COVID put a bit of the brakes on doing that. So I work in training and development at the minute, learning development. So that's sort of the day job. Obviously, as a parent, which again is what we both are, getting the kids into football themselves. My eldest has just joined the under nine side at the back end of last year. So again, like yourself, sort of seeing it from the parents' perspective. And I used to text you at the end of every match, going like, "Oh, this is what I've seen. I hope you don't mind the comments." Obviously constructive, but like sort of looking at,
well,
oh,
in the
that was
most
really, really
part.
great play, like for the most part, yeah, like that was really great play, like, oh my god, I can't believe we were so unlucky with that. What a really lovely team we've just played, like those sorts of things was really nice. And then we had that conversation, going, look, do you want to get involved? And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, I do actually, because my background when I played football, and this is way back when, like back in the days of like wax tablets and styluses, back with the dinosaurs, my coaching journey and my football journey in the Northeast. I'm a Sunderland fan, by the way. So like my football journey in the Northeast was very much a case of you ran laps around the horseshoe, and then you played football, and that was it. And like if you touched the ball twice, then you clearly made a mistake. You meant to just get it out your feet, hoof it, run, and get kicked. And so I didn't really enjoy that. I used to feel as though I played football differently even back then as a kid, and seeing through the eyes now of my own child, like I can see me in him, and I can see how he plays, and I'm like, right, okay, do you know what? If I can give him any advice as to how to keep him engaged with football and how to really help benefit him and grow him, not to make him a footballer. I think we're going to discuss as part of this show is really like giving him the skills that he's going to develop, that football gives children. In terms of like resilience, in terms of teamwork, in terms of respect, in terms of those sort of like being able to follow instructions, those sorts of skills. If I can help that, and I can help other kids as well level up and be one better by the end of the year, I was like, okay, that's 100%, sign me up. And so I'm currently going through my L1 process right now, and I'll be all fully ticked off by the start of the 26-27 season. So very excited.
Which will allow me to have a week off. I mean,
do you think?
No, I mean, I wouldn't want to. I mean, my kid's there every week anyway, so it's without fail. And you're right in what you're saying. It's the skills outside of football, and I think this is kind of like why we're contemplating the idea of the name of this being coaching through football. But it is like the external skills and the additional skills that you gain through playing any kind of sport. It doesn't matter whether it's football, tennis, rugby, whatever. Like team sports are incredibly like beneficial for kids. Even individual skills for discipline and accountability as well. But yeah, I've seen a huge improvement in my son over the year, just in confidence. I had a comment weirdly in the playground this morning from one of the parents just saying, "My God, Jack, like he's come on so much," and it's really heartwarming to hear those things, because we've played a part in that. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, as you age, through primary school specifically, like you have these little mini experiences with your friends. You've got to come up against conflict. You've got to work stuff out. Your hormones are all over the place, and it's a really tough time being a kid at around sort of like 8-9 years old, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think football as well is like it brings a sense of belonging, which I know sounds really strange to talk about when you're talking about like 7 and 8 year olds, 9-year-olds, like feeling like as though they don't belong. But it starts that early, doesn't it? Like, it does start that early. Like you get your social groups, and it is stereotypically the kids who play for the football team, like they all go to one side, they all play football at lunchtime, and we even experienced it, with ours, where it was the football team versus everyone else in the playground. And like my son was like, well, I'm not, like I'm part of that, but I don't really agree with being part of it. Like even he understood at that age. He was just like, I don't really like this, because like my mate, who ironically has now come to play with us, he wasn't part of that football team. He wasn't playing football, so he had to play against his mate and had that whole "you can't play with us" vibe, which my son like was going, it doesn't feel right, but he didn't want to let his football teammates down. But we had the conversation when he came across to our side, and we're like, look, you are now going to be in that playground. You will be on the other side. Okay, like this is what's going to happen. And he's like, right, okay, fair enough. It took him a while to get it, but he's like, okay, fair enough, got it. His mate has now come to us as well, having never played football at all, and this is like partly why I do it, like because you want to sort of be there to help people who've never done it before, and as I say, like even level them up by one is what you want. And I was talking to his dad, because we're good friends outside of football as well, and he was saying, like, look, I just want my son that if the ball comes from the playground, he can just control it and pass it back. Like that's what I want, and then from there, anything else that happens is an absolute bonus. and he wrote, and I shared this with you, didn't I?
Yeah,
he wrote
I was just thinking of that. Yeah.
The pros and cons as to like why to join a football team, and he was like, I have no cons. I will get to play with my friends. Like, Tony's the coach, and this sounds like fun. And I was like, that is why we do what we do.
I mean, it's one of those, for an 8-year-old to have. I mean, I don't know if he's actually 8 yet. I presume he is. I think he's 8 now, isn't he? But to have the time and the thought to write a pros and cons list, I think that in itself is incredible. And he's weighing up the decision as to whether or not to join a football team. And obviously, he came in, and we had another tournament last week, didn't we? Which was, I mean, we'll talk about that, but like, so that was yeah. I mean, that was very stressful. We ultimately entered a. Because we've kind of gone through a little bit of a mix-up recently, and as you're supposed to, and we've mixed some of the teams up to be more multi-development and mixed ability, and we're sort of like bigging up one of the other teams to kind of go on and charge on and allow some of those more developed players to mix in with each other. So yeah, we were at a tournament which was dubbed a Super Cup tournament, and playing part of that, and we just got battered every game, and I had to hold my hands up. I took full responsibility for entering that, thinking, we're mixing up the teams, it'd be good to see how we fare, and it was a disaster, like absolute disaster. But thinking on it, having time to sort of absorb it and come to terms with what had happened, I was able to see some of the good things, actually. Like, and Benji was one of those, where he was able to, he came in and he had the benefit and the advantage of ignorance. He was like, I don't know what to expect. I've never played football. I've never played a competitive game of football in my life. And I presume this is his subconscious inner monologue potentially, but he's I've never played a game of football in my life. I don't know what to expect. I'm just going to go and be brave and just like lay it all out on the pitch. And he bloody did as well, didn't he? Like I think I came away from that day, and I think we discussed this. He was like standout. He was just like he just gave everything. It was amazing, absolutely incredible to see.
I think the phrase we used as we walked off, we went, well, that's caused us a problem, hasn't it? Because I think we'd sort of had in our heads, not that we wanted him to be a development player, because again, I've got my views on that pathway, just from an experience that I've had with my son, being on the development side of the team and only really playing in the friendlies after the league games. I didn't really we didn't really want him to be a development player per se, but we wanted to sort of like ease him in with game time, really, didn't we?
That was the idea,
and we just threw him in and just went, look, we've had a couple of matches already. It's not gone great for us. Just go and, as you say, do whatever feels natural. And the great thing with him is he follows instruction. Like, he follows instructions so well. So if you say, just run around and kick whatever moves, or like, just if you see the ball, kick it, like, he does that. And he does that without thinking about a thing. He doesn't know why he's doing it, where it's going, or whatever. So he did that, and he was great. And we both looked at each other and went, okay, so that changed our thinking a little bit, because we didn't know if he was going to be overawed by the occasion. And some of our players who've been with the club for a year were slightly overawed by the occasion. My son in particular was a little bit overawed by it as well. And his confidence was like flying up until that point. And then he went within himself. I think he already said, like, I don't really think I like tournaments, because he's not, well, I was going to say he's not won one, but the first tournament that we played, we finished fourth, and we weren't supposed to finish fourth. Like, we were on the developmental side. We were like finished pretty good, and we were like, hang on, we've held our own here. And then, so I'm like having to sort of remind my son, going, you do remember we've done well before in these things? And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, he played in with himself, whereas some of the other lads, the new lads, like, they just didn't.
No, and it's something it crops up quite a lot, actually. is this idea, and I don't know if it's. I think it is quite common amongst certainly 8 and 9 year old boys. From what I see amongst my son's age group and his friends, is that they seem to have a real big problem with failure. Like, they have a really big problem with it, and they're expecting. And I don't know if it's because of what they watch. I mean, my son doesn't watch YouTube anymore. Like, that's kind of out the window. And if he does, it's YouTube Kids or something that I've kind of pre-approved, weirdly enough, which sounds probably a bit controlling. But and they're watching the football on the TV, and they're seeing winning, and they always go and support the winning team. I mean, I've never seen so many Liverpool fans in York. They're always down in London, but never Liverpool, obviously, because that's where all the Everton fans are. But they seem to have the big problem with failure. Like, they're expecting to go in, and I don't know if it's this sort of visualization that they do. It's like, and I know my son does it a lot, where he goes, "Imagine if I do this, Daddy. Imagine if this happens. Imagine," and I'm like, "Just go and see. Just find out. Just have no preconception with what." I mean, obviously, he doesn't know what preconception means yet, but it's like, have no idea of like what's going to go. And I see it in the way they play games outside of football as well. It's like they have to have the rules there, and everything has to be very coordinated, and the outcome is almost predetermined. And it's such a weird one, and they're almost bringing that to a football game and going, well, we're going to win this because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, actually, you don't know. You have no idea. And we've been beaten, haven't we, by teams that we've beaten in the past, where the kids have gone in and gone, we beat these in a previous game. We should win this now, or we are going to win this because this has happened. So I think, coming back to it, actually, just speaking about Benji in particular, his clearance off the line yesterday in the tournament was just outstanding.
I mean, you talk about YouTube highlight reels, right? Now I know like this is a point as well, and it's one that I think needs a wider discussion, so we'll give it the space to discuss it in future episodes. I think kids' consumption of football is so different nowadays to what we would consume back in the day. Like, obviously we had very limited options. Football wasn't on TV 24/7. We certainly didn't have YouTube 24/7. There was like the big match on the Sunday, or like the FA Cup games were on BBC. Sky then turned up, and that time when I was about Premier League was 93, so I'd have been 13 at the time when that started.
Showing your age,
by that
mate.
point, I'd already been. Oh, my age is out there, right? Okay, I'm 46, right? So I'll put my age out there now, right? But I used to go to football, so I was at Sunderland full end, like from about the age of like 5 or 6 or something, and like that was
Nice.
just, you were there constantly in the cold, in the wet, in the rain, and whereas nowadays, like my kids, and fair play to my eldest who's now part of the team, the World Cup's been great for him. He's literally, it's forced him into watching football. Last season he was watching football a lot through Match of the Day. He'd get his iPad on the morning, rather than watching Pokemon, which he loves, by the way, and I don't discourage Pokemon from him. He watches that on YouTube with selected creators, and then he's got Match of the Day. So he watches that in the morning. So the World Cup's been the same. He's watched every single World Cup match and highlights every single. What he's also seen is the short clips that the BBC do of the iconic players, and like, this is like a really cool skill move or whatever. So while he's doing that and he's watching, he's also telling me, "Daddy, can I do a Neymar kick?" And I'm like, No, you can't. Like, you physically, like, you don't need to do a Neymar kick. And he's like, he sent me the other day, he went, "Oh, Daddy, do you reckon there'll be a moment? Do you reckon there'll be a moment I can do a scorpion kick?" And I showed him Rennie Higuita doing a scorpion kick. I was like,
Amazing.
Well, first of all, he's a goalkeeper, right? You're not. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, why would you? Why would you?
Honestly, it's like it is the social media highlight reel, isn't it? Like, how they consume football. But the gaming side of thing, and I know obviously you've got a nice little Football Manager, sign behind you as well. But it's how they consume football through gaming as well, and that was always a big thing for me actually growing up as well. So I was I remember when the PS1 was released, and then the PS2, but the Xbox was the big thing for me. and playing, Pro Evo soccer and FIFA, even like, and FIFA was a big thing at uni for us, and that's where I got a lot of my player knowledge from. That's where I got a lot of my tactical knowledge from, and they say, and I remember actually hearing a story of the Middlesbrough chairman. He actually received an application for a managerial vacancy from someone who was a football manager expert, and it's just like that's insane, and that's how kids are growing up now. Though they're visualizing everything through gaming or social media, and actually just getting out onto the pitch, realize you're not made of glass, and being a bit braver with it is like by far the best way to experience it for kids, because it does make them realize that, because they are quite sensitive souls, aren't they? Some more than others. And this kind of plays into it as well a little bit, is that because they've visualized it and they've visualized themselves winning and doing certain elements like a scorpion kick or whatever, or a Neymar kick, or as my son just is obsessed with biceps.
I think it's like, I think that's a football thing, to be honest. I still think I can do one right now.
Yeah, sure, and you're not thinking, you're not thinking about your hips or lower back. Yeah, and I think I fell down on the floor doing, diving actually in a small goal in the garden, and woke up the next day and my back was in bits. It's just like, it's crazy. But yeah, they visualize all this stuff and they visualize themselves winning, and they don't deal with failure very well. And these are all the things that we're trying to help them with. It's never about the football. It's about everything outside of it. The confidence, the resilience, the teamwork, the individuality while being part of a collective. And it's so tough because you are, and I think you mentioned this last night in one of your voice notes, but it's parenting, isn't it? It's parenting through sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like sport just becomes the vehicle, really.
Exactly.
Where we do similar, like at work. You know what I mean? Like you have to manage people and you have to coach people at work. What we're doing is we're coaching kids, through all their emotions, through their day, like how they feel. And that can change, as we know as parents, from minute to minute, from hour to hour. If you play in a tournament, we've got, what did we do? We did 5 games yesterday. So
5 games yesterday, yeah.
So you could have a player who could be on top of the morning on match day 1, okay? They then play match day 2, and then all of a sudden they start to crash a little bit. The heat's taken into them. They're not hydrated enough, and they get a bit ratty. They've maybe not slept well enough the day before. And so then you've got that to deal with, and you're not focusing on the football in that sense. You're focusing on the child and going, okay, like, look, how can I stabilize you to get you back into the frame of mind where you want to just play football with your mates? And that's the angle that I think you and I take with our side, because we are developmental. Like, we're not coaching like Div 1 or elite players. We should say that as well. So our approach to coaching is coaching the kids. We're not saying, okay, return, right, sort of replaying all the players, going, right, okay, the reason you've lost the ball here is because X, Y, and Z. We are doing a little bit of that, but it's not focused on the pressing traps and sorts of things. That we're not inverting the pyramid out and going, right, well, actually what it was, right, it started off with Dynamo Kiev back in the day, right? We're not there yet, but it is just about
the Hungarian Gegenpress.
yeah, and it will be next year, but right now not so much. But I spoke to one of the children at the start of the game, and I said to him, I was like, look, I says, how you feeling? This is one of my things I like to do with the kids. I'm like, right, how are you feeling out of 10 today? And he went, 7. I went, all right, cool. I said, so you can give me a 7 today? And he went, actually 6.5, maybe 6.2. And I was like, right, you need to rethink that 7 then, don't you? Because like, this is slipping, like, and he's like, all right, okay, I'll do 6.5. Like, because you could see, like, he'd almost gone a little bit inside himself and realised he'd gone too high early.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I've seen is, like, one of the things I experienced when I was a kid playing football, give me 10, always give me 10 out of 10. And from a football perspective and, like, from my own, training and fitness and whatever perspective, you can't always give 10. because like you might not be 10, like you might only be 6. So if you can give me 6, you've literally given me 10. Like that's the thing, is the mindset.
You've given everything you've got, basically, isn't it? It's like it's so hard with kids as well, because they are emotional wrecks at this point. The hormones are flying everywhere, and you have to deal with that. But yeah, I like that. I like that sort of like inquisitiveness into like how they're feeling in that particular time, and that is actually something you do incredibly well and better than I do. For me, it's one thing I can't stand, to be perfectly honest, and I think that's probably a trauma thing from my childhood. But it's, even if you are a 4 out of 10, not giving everything on the pitch. Like, you are here for a finite amount of time on the pitch. I mean, not existentially, but like
also existentially as well.
Also existentially, but wow, that took a turn. But yeah, it's like you are here for like, on a normal match day, you are here for an hour. I have you for an hour. You are here to do the thing you love, or you say you love, for 1 hour, and just go on and leave it all on the pitch. Just go and when they lose the ball, their heads go down and they don't run back and get it, and track back and get the ball back. It's like, why wouldn't you give everything? It's the same when I was watching England. England, Norway, and the conditions were awful, weren't they? It was like really, really humid and whatnot. And my wife was saying, it's like, oh, look at Bellingham, he's knackered. And I was like, yeah, but he's a pro footballer. He's playing for his country in a World Cup quarter-final. He will go to the very end, because when is he going to get to do this again? I mean, he might get to do it in 4 years' time or 2 years' time at the Euros, but he knows. He's got the mentality to know that I'm going to give everything on the pitch. And even if the kids just have like 0.001% of that mentality, if we can instill that into them at that point, that's great. That's great, because it's like, you've got 20 minutes for this league game. Go and give it all. So that's something I'm working on with the kids anyway. It's like looking at effort levels, and just, even if you make a mistake, as long as you gave it your all, I don't care.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think two points from that, actually, and I love that final point about, if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. And I think that's something that we need to explore a little bit more.
Yeah,
is encouraging the kids to make mistakes, because you can argue, like, at the elite levels of the game right now, like, players are coached way beyond capacity. Like, they're coached more than they've ever been in their lives. They are now, for want of a better phrase, robots. Really, in terms of like the elite level, like, and you can see, and we've all had conversations, in like coffee shops or pubs or whatever, going like, oh, why do they always cut back? Why do they never just take a risk? And like, because they're told not to. They're literally following instruction. Yeah. Whereas with a kid, you want them to make that mistake and then understand what happens when they've made the mistake. But also, do you know what? That if that comes off, then great. But I'd rather a kid tries something and then goes,
it's taking a risk,
I understand why that didn't work. Because the next time they do it, they'll do it better, and it might work. Yeah. So I love that bit, learning through mistakes. The other bit I want to sort of explore a little bit was when you said about mindset there. And if I use my eldest as an example, like, we spoke at the start of yesterday's tournament. He was a little bit within himself, I think, like in the first couple of games. Like, he doesn't really like getting back. He doesn't like the word tackling. So language is very, very... I'm noticing language is like really, really not triggering, but like important with kids. So saying things to my boy like tackling, he doesn't want to tackle because he feels that he's going to hurt someone. He feels he has too much respect for the opposition. He'll tackle his mates and his brother, absolutely, but he won't go and tackle his opposition. So I said, okay, well, would you like me to use the word win the ball back? And he said, yeah. I said, right. So every time you lose the ball, go win it back. And that just means running after it. Just get in the way, be a nuisance. And the first couple of games, he wasn't quite getting it, but he started a little bit. And then we had a discussion, and I said, look, he's been speaking during the week about wanting to be captain and what it means to be a captain. He was very curious and inquisitive about what that meant. So I talked to him about who the captains are in real football and stuff, and he's like, okay, I understand what they do. So I said for the final match, this is right, for the first half, because we played 10 minutes, it was a 20-minute match for the final, rather than the standard 15. So I said, look, let me stick him on for a bit longer. Let me give him the captain's armband. Let's see if that helps him. Just because he's been talking about it, let's try it. Might work, might not. My word, that was the kick up the backside he needed. He
paid off.
On and he
it
ran
paid off
with it, didn't he?
I mean, the mentality of that though is really interesting though. If he's been thinking about it and now it's like, right, I've got my chance. And we talk about the captain's armband, like you and I talk about it. It's just like this symbolic thing. I mean, between us, it doesn't really matter, does it? But like, who gets it? Because we're not playing in the Premier League or anything like that. It doesn't actually matter. But it's the symbol of responsibility, and that actually does register with kids. It's my son talks about, when I get the captain's armband, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And it's like, great, that's fantastic that you're thinking about that. And even with your son yesterday, that really paid off. He was all over the pitch, and he got his goal. He got his goal of the day, and it was so lovely to see. It's like, even with our goalkeeper, giving him the captain's armband at the beginning, because he can see the whole match, and just getting him to be a bit more vocal. It didn't quite pan out as much as I thought it would, but that's something that we can work on over next season. But yeah, the symbolism of and what it means to be a captain, I think, is really interesting to see how that plays out with our kids. Really, I think it's going to be really interesting. And just a shout out to, there aren't many, but we have a girl on our team, and she's been with us since under sixes, I think, so under sixes or under sevens. And she has just flourished over the last year. She is fantastic. And she gets so many good comments about, and she got a goal yesterday as well. So I think that's like her third or fourth of the season. And that was like, it's 400% more than she scored last season. So not taking any credit for that at all, but she's really flourished. So a special shout out to her, because she's incredible.
No, absolutely. And I think that the captain's thing, like, it is, you're right, it's like a sort of like a badge of honour that all kids want. And look, let's be honest, all footballers really want that adulation, don't they? That's what it is, right? But the kids, I think they want to just be seen, I think. And I remember speaking to your son, actually, because we had a conversation where we were putting him in goal, and he's like, I don't really want to play in goal. And it's like, but you're quite good in goal, and we understand that. And I understand that you might not be feeling it right now. But I actually said to him, I said, but I want you to captain from the back. Like, no, you've not physically got the armband right now, but I want you to talk the two defenders through the game. So it was a very conscious decision of giving him that extra responsibility to say, look, the reason I'm putting you here is because, as you said there, you can see the whole game. But it was to assist the new centre-back, to assist the other centre-back who was kind of had a bit of an up and down day, who, when he's on it, is great. When he's not on it, he can struggle a little bit. So to be that friendly voice and just say, look, you lead from the back, like a bit like NFL, where they have like sort of positional captains. You break it down. And what we really want long term is we want every player, whenever they step on the pitch at whatever level it is, to feel like they are responsible for their team. And you want them talking, and you want them sort of like spotting things and helping and encouraging. And that's one of the things that we want to try and embody and embed, within our sort of overall, philosophy, both as coaches and in terms of how we run the club, at our level and our team. So that's sort of like, I love the idea of like rotating the armband around and sort of like not having one person as the constant captain. You can try various bits and pieces out, because I think it's just that thing where it gives people something to aim towards. And when you see the sudden change in someone, like by having that armband, like I say, like my boy ran more than I've ever seen him run. Like he was back
in the previous 4 games.
Like he was on last year's form in that final match. 2 goals, one. I keep telling him, like, he's probably one of the quickest players we've probably got in the whole club.
He's got speed,
his acceleration is ridiculous, and he ran in from the throw in, kick in, I should say. Sorry. I said, just go, like, and just the second he ran, players just backed off him, space opened up, pinged it in an angle. I was like, right, okay, that's class. And then the other one was what we hoped would work. One of our new strikers has come through, come from one of our other teams into our team. He picked the ball up deep, pinged it over the top, and again, he's like fast as well. But he put the ball over the top, and my boy just ran straight through, one-on-one goal. And I believe, to coin a phrase, top binsed it. So
Yes,
So I was like, right, that was brilliant. And then gave him a little moment, went, right, look, that's the time. Off you get. Felt bad bringing him off after 2 goals, but, you know, off you get. Pass the armband off, but we need to give everyone another roll around as well. But, yeah, you earned that.
It's actually, I think it's better to bring them off after, like, on a high, rather than bring them off after they've just done something that they deem to be a mistake, or they think they failed, because then they think, and we've seen that with one of our kids, haven't we? Like, not our kids, but one of the kids in the team, where he has occasions of his head dropping, and it takes him a little while to get that head back up. And quite often we're in the middle of a rotation, and we need to bring him off, but his head's down, and we find we're adding to his kind of, you know, negativity a little bit, and it's like it feels we feel terrible for doing it, but at the same time it's like we've got to give other kids a chance, and then so it's now then we have to take that opportunity to have a word with him and just like say, like, that's not why we brought you off. Everyone needs a chance. But I mean, in my head yesterday, I lost it a little bit because of the amount of questions. Like, when am I going on?
So
when am I going on? Can I play striker? I had to literally explain to every single one of them, if I played you striker and everyone else striker, who's playing in goal, who's defending, what are you all going to do? And it's like, they realise when you put it like that, but it's like, what do you mean you play striker? We're actually not playing with a striker. We're playing with 2 defenders and 2 midfielders. There is no striker. No one's playing striker. Get this out of your head. And I think they got it eventually.
Something we spoke about before, isn't it? Like, we try not to have positions. We try to have roles, don't we? So, like, okay, so you play at the back, so you're winning the ball back. Like, you're the enforcers. Like, you're right. No one's going to get past you. When you get the ball, move it forward. And if you're part of what we deem as the offensive side of the pitch, then okay, your job, like you're the outlets. Like, you're going to go and hunt the ball down up front, and you're going to create chances, and you're going to look up, and you're going to cut back for your mates. And yeah, we don't have, as I say, we don't have strikers and defenders. But I suppose that's just part of football. I suppose that people want another set of identity, I guess.
Yeah, again, and it's something they see, isn't it? Because kids don't follow teams anymore; they follow players. You know, and it's this whole like, oh, we see Haaland, we see Ronaldo, we see Diaz, we see, you know, I don't think anyone says Darwin Núñez anymore, but yeah.
We see him.
Yeah, we see him hit the post the most times any player has ever done in a season. But yeah,
I suppose it's difficult as well for like kids to understand. I'm going to use my lad as an example as well. Like, he was convinced he was a centre midfielder when he first started, like, going to like football training and stuff, and little sort of like development camps and that. He's like, I'm a midfielder, because as far as he was aware, his favourite players were midfielders. And then he got 5-on-5, and he's like, going, well, where's midfield? I was like, well, midfield is technically at the back, so you can come forward. He's like, nah, I'm going to be one of those front guys. Then that's where I'll go front. Yeah, all the glory. I was like, that's probably the best way you need to be, actually. Just you be up top and run fast. Like, I
had exactly that same conversation with my son. You know, it was after the presentation actually that we did, because my son came away with the most improved player, and we were really chuffed about that, and he was really chuffed about it. But I was explaining to him why he got it and the reasons that were discussed amongst the coaches. And it was because he had played in goal, he had played in defence, he'd played in midfield, he'd played up top and got a couple of goals over the season. And it's that versatility that he was able to bring, and an acceptance of playing everywhere. And then when I asked him, where do you want to play next season? I can't make any promises, but I'd like to know what you think you want to do next season. I'm striker. And I'm like, I don't think you are, mate. I don't think you are. I think you are a defender or a goalkeeper. And his face just dropped. I was like, but you think about all the games you've played in goal. The team's actually gone on to win, and it's you've played a part in that. So it's a bit of a weird one, but yeah, I mean, and the other thing as well, it's harsh but true. Like, the kids do not tell us where they play. It's like we have to take it into consideration where they're going to get the most enjoyment. Mm-hmm. But we need to be honest about this, and as we all know, like especially young boys, they are little narcissists. They do think about themselves and only themselves for a bit, and they do want the glory. And I said that to my son actually. I was just like, "Are you wanting to be striker because of scoring goals and the glory and the celebrations, or is it the fact that you scoring goals will help the team win?" And of course, he said the second one. He said the latter one. But I think inside they are thinking about that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's something we have to manage.
Absolutely, like my boy keeps saying about this is what my celebration's going to be this year. I'm like, why are you working out your celebration like already? I get it, and again, we get it. It's like, it's that element of success, isn't it? Like, kids won't look at the 50 greatest tackles or the 100 greatest blocks, or no YouTube show is going to come up with that with kids, is it? But I mean, we need to show them Paolo Maldini, we need to show them Franco Baresi, we need to show them Marcel Desailly, this is like what they need to see, Vidic or whatever, but they only see Mbappe, they see Messi, they see, they don't even see R9. I've had to show my boy R9, and he's like, okay, he's mint, where's he been hiding? Like, well, not hiding, he's retired.
You can't miss him, to be fair.
But look at this though, the goals that we scored in that last match was amazing. Like the celebration, the scenes were for all of the team, because we knew that it had been 5 games and they had to get something out of that last game, and they did. And the celebrations were unrivaled. The only thing that rivaled it was that clearance off the line, because it was just literally, you can't coach for that. It's a lad who's come in who's never played football. But we say about dealing with what just felt natural. He saw that moment of going, that ball's going to go in unless I run and clear it off the line. And he ran faster than we've ever seen him run before, and he hoofed it further than he's ever hoofed it before to make sure that didn't go in. And honestly, that cheer from not just our families, but the opposition families as well, who were all just like, wow, that is incredible. And it was literally, it was a cheer like a goal. So
it was pure instinct as well, wasn't it? Just pure instinct.
Oh yeah, and for any kid to go, do you know what? Yeah, I can get that amount of adulation for clearing a chance and stopping a goal. That was his win right there. That was class. Brilliant moment to behold.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of the top 3 moments of the whole tournament, the whole day actually, to be honest. For me, I think because our goalkeeper for the first couple of games, he'd had a couple of moments like that as well, where he'd made some really good stops, and he got those kind of sort of similar cheers from our side. And he's one of those that wants to play in goal as well. He wants to play in goal. He's good at it. All his friends say how good he is as well. So that's really cool. And actually, one of the other kids as well, the one we thought was going to play in goal, has turned out to be just one of the best little box to box midfielders. He's everywhere. He's tall. He's strong. We just need to work on the confidence, and when we'd had a word with him and he came back in that last game and just had the game of his life, and it was just absolutely incredible to see.
But again, that's that pastoral care, isn't it? That's that additional parenting that you have to do it on the sidelines, to be like, okay, look, I'm working out how to communicate with all these individuals, and you've got to communicate with them all differently as well, and working out what makes one child tick as opposed to another child tick. And I think it was the match before. I think was it the match before, possibly. We gave him the captain's armband. Yeah, and he just ran it. It was like night and day. It was a different child. He just grew 6 inches, and he became Beckenbauer almost, wasn't he? He was great feet on the ball, touching, making sure he was getting involved, tackling, bringing the ball out of defence. Got himself a goal as well by bringing the ball all the way out. It was superb to see. And those are again just another little wins for the weekend.
Amazing. Well, I think we're kind of coming to the end now, but I think it might be good to sort of tease a couple of the sort of topics that we're kind of going to go through over the next few weeks. I know confidence is a big thing. We want to talk about parents as well, the actual parents that are involved through football, what they can do at home to help support their child outside of football as well. And there's a lot of topics we can get through on this. I think, I would ask you, like, what are you looking to cover over the next few weeks?
So I think, obviously things like nutrition is always a big one, isn't it? Like, how can you fuel a child? I know we're saying we're not necessarily coaching footballers, but at the same time, like, how can we set our children up for the best?
We're coaching through football. This is the idea, isn't
exactly.
it? Like, we're coaching through football, and we can,
So how can we fuel them for games and for their life? Like, what's the best way to do that? I think the comment as well. There was a comment that we spoke about before we even hit record, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about today. So it's definitely one we will talk about. The phrase of, it's a thankless task what you lot do, isn't it?
Oh, God,
coaching a football team. And I'm like, do you know what? No. I'm going to spin that, because I don't think it is a thankless task. But I'd love to know thoughts in comments as to whether coaching at any level is a thankless task at all.
I'll be very interested, because I do wonder if we do live in a bit of a bubble, because we do have a really, really supportive parent group, actually. And
we do.
I don't know if that's by design, or whether we've just been quite lucky to have supportive parents. But I know I've heard horror stories in the past. I know even some of the older age groups, I know they've had trouble with parents, and even our neighbours, our footballing neighbours, they're having some issues too. So I think definitely talking about that will be mint. But I've enjoyed this one. This is good.
I've enjoyed it. It's been great, and I like the idea of just like having a bit of a sort of Monday debrief of like, right, that happened on Sunday. It's fresh in our minds. What have we learned? In fact, there you go. That's the takeaway from today. Yeah. Right? What's one thing that we've learned from the weekend? Whether it's from the game, whether it's from the drive back with your child afterwards. Yeah. What's that one thing that you're going to take away and resonate with you? For me, if I sort of think about it very quickly, I think for me, one thing I'll take away is that. Do you know what? My child really liked responsibility. Like, and I know he loves the idea of being responsible. He actually got like an award at school the same week, so I think that sort of played into him. But I think that additional responsibility really benefited him in that moment, and it made him think about the game differently. But what I loved, and the main takeaway from all of it, was we had, at the end of the match, the kids were going like, what happens when we win? Because they'd lost all their games. Like, what happens when we win? I was like, you go and celebrate, and if you don't win, then that's fine as well. Okay? And they all won, and they sat down and went, and I was like, right, what did I say we would do when we won the game? And they went, we said we'd celebrate, and I was like, all right, go and celebrate then. And they just all ran off cheering, and I was like, that's my takeaway. They had fun in that last match, so make it fun.
That was really important, that they finished on a high. And I know that some of the parents this morning, they were saying, I was just asking in passing, how were the boys this morning, or how was Fred this morning, all this kind of stuff. And it was like, really good. They were buzzing after that last match, and I think that's the thing. It's like they might have had a bit of a shit day up to that point, but finishing on a high was like absolutely the thing. I think the thing I'll take away is, apart from next time bring copious bottles of water to a really hot tournament day, but I think it's, and this is going to sound awful, but the child doesn't know themselves best yet.
No.
And that sounds a little bit sort of, I don't know, egotistical potentially, but you can see, sometimes objectivity is amazing, and actually it's better to hear it from someone who isn't your dad or your mum. You hear it from someone else. And I know, like, when I speak to some of the kids, to hear a different voice, like I've spoken to a couple of the kids, and even their parents have gone, they've sent me voice notes going, Coach Paul, can you just send us a voice note saying that my boy needs to eat their vegetables? And I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden I've kind of become that version of like the policeman in the phone box kind of thing. So it's really good to have that sort of, they don't know themselves best because, well, they don't have that level of self-awareness yet. So they think they know what they want to do, and you've got to try and pander a little bit to that as much as possible to keep their confidence up and not tell them that they're wrong and all this kind of thing. But actually exposing them to this new situation, whether they might be better in goal, or whatever it is. I think just understanding that the kids don't know themselves fully yet, and won't know themselves for some years to come. They're still figuring that out. But it's how do you expose them to those new things? And that's something I took away from yesterday. Is like, actually, wow, they really don't know their own capabilities until they're exposed to taking a risk.
Nice, like it, excellent.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everyone for watching. Hopefully, some of it's landed. There's something that's resonated with you. But yeah, let us know in the comments if there's any particular discussion topics you want us covering in the future as well. If there's any burning issues or anything we've said that you've sort of went, oh, you know what, yeah, I quite agree with that. You want to expand upon it, have that conversation, then please do so. In terms of next steps, Paul?
Yeah, check us out. We'll be available on YouTube, hopefully by the time that this airs. This is a very sort of like spur of the moment thing. I know we've been talking about it for a little while, but it's important. So hopefully we'll have all the various places that you can go and watch and share set up by the time that this goes live. So, but yeah, thank you to everyone who's watched this, and hopefully it is useful for some other parents and coaches and people experiencing football as a way of their child growing and experiencing new things. So yeah, love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. See you all next week.
See you next week.